taken before his time, far before his time.
Welcome back, everyone. So, where we left off, we were just about to enter the gates into Sicile. We will be in this town for a little while. You have to do quite a bit of talking to progress the main story further. So let's get started.
If I don't start earning an extra gold piece now, I'll walk out that door.
Good on you. These boss men respect competence.
I don't know how you did that, hocus pocus, but boy, am I grateful. Nothing worse than seeing a fine vessel like that disappear beneath the waves. I thought the old gal's fate was sealed when the orc shaman set his fiery gaze on her.
I'll go ahead and top off my health here. We have a chest over here, but it's roped off. I think we'll be able to get that later.
Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Fennel's carriage for a joyride?
Ha! No, it ain't. He drank sauce. Here in Sicile. Dah. Of all that cursed hunks of rock to land on, Conrad chooses this one. Who knows if it's even over for sure? Those damn orcs keep sending us these terrible surprises. A ship's got a soul too, you know. You did a mighty fine thing saving that barge. For those of us raised in crews instead of families, it's kin to saving a fellow man.
Stewardy?
I'm just gonna pick up this arrowhead from my ranger. Maybe sell a couple of these weapons while I'm here.
Is that Bertie is still arrived?
Yes, sir. As fine a specimen as one of her stock, sir.
I'll keep one weapon and shield just in case for now. I'm not sure if shells are used for crafting, so I'll hold on to them for the moment. That pretty much balances the trade out though.
And don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the zombies, skeletons, you know the story.
Ahoy, sailor! Are you enjoying the fresh winds of Sicile? Name's Conrad. Cargo trader, sea captain, an expert in all things nautical. Folks across Andervale know to give old Conrad a holler when it comes to rare imports and magical items. Those orcs must be out of their barbarous minds launching an attack on a city where a great wizard resides. Though even I must admit they put up a hearty effort. I'll tell you, the only time I'd consider waging a suicide campaign like that would be if whatever I sought was something worth dying over.
I wouldn't let an orc win 500 yards of my loving nature.
This game has too many boxes.
Plenty of fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks. Slimy, reeking, rotting sea garbage.
There's another chest hidden right over here. We'll have to get that later.
Say, no one's around. You wouldn't raise a fuss if I, borrowed one of these fish, would you?
Borrow indeed. I'll sooner meet a cat wizard than see that merchant repaid.
Come now, I'll be good for it, I swear!
Tomatoes?
I never would have dreamt of resorting to petty theft during better times, but what choice have I got now? If it's steal or starve, I'll choose steal.
I'm straight.
Oh, my story's tired by now. I was happy enough, prosperous enough, before these lean times around Sicil began. Still, that doesn't waive a man's need to eat, you know. So what do you think? Should I snag a fish?
Yes, you know what they say about giving a man a fish? This man should learn to stand on his own 2 feet.
I suppose you've got a point. Another day, another rumbling belly. Never fed a hungry man, you know.
Quite romantic, it seems.
So this is what all these decisions we're making are affecting these scales right here. So that one just gave us
Sheep's cheese?
righteousness, so righteousness gives me leadership, whereas renegade would give me pickpocketing.
Fresh haddock. Perfect for a fry-up.
I'm heading up here to see Arhu and Arius.
you before she could do any real damage.
Any real damage? You're joking. I've been mauled. I'll be disfigured for life.
Ah, come on.
What have we here, then? A so-called source hunter, eh? Well, look, do what you must in Sicil, but don't make waves and don't interfere with the Legion's affairs. You hear? Gods above! Some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous! I told that wizard brat of an Ahu not to bother. But he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magicians. They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery's afoot. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop. Understand? I am in command of this town. Not Mayor Cecil, not Ahu, and definitely not some hotshot source hunter. So investigate Jake's death if you feel so inclined, but report back to me the moment you discover something out of the ordinary. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Now off with you! Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town, down to the crabs on the beach, is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has the reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you lot have made in the past. What? You're going to stand there and claim with a straight face your order never wrongly tortured and executed anyone? Hardly. But I won't stand for such nonsense. If you bring evidence before me, I'll evaluate it with perfect objectivity. The Legion relies on reason, see? Not idle superstition. If you must. I'd say they're looking for weak spots in our defenses. They can't make an attack over land for fear of Ahu's magical machines, so they're trying their luck by sea. They won't succeed, though. Not against the Legion. Bravo! Figured that one out, did you? I haven't been stuck here for 2 years because we're being besieged by fluffy kittens, you know. Those brain-feasting freaks out there keep on coming. And it takes all the sword arms and all of Ahu's half-baked contraptions to keep them at bay. Keeping them at bay, that is all we do. Were that I could break their backs once and for all.
Okay, so this guy sells the man-at-arms skills. I'm gonna look over those real quick and see if there's anything I want for our soldier here. I think this one will be worth having. Being able to pick someone up or put out a fire on someone. This is also a skill I'd want, Whirlwind, just a good AoE. don't have too much of value yet, unfortunately. I did not notice this backpack right here, so let's check out what's inside. Okay, I guess nothing. I think I'll use her bag to store all the arrows.
You, again. Do feel free to depart from Sicil at your earliest convenience.
It's a lot of our money, but I think it'll be worth it.
I hope your quest fares well, dear hunter. By all means. Of course. I hope your investigation fares well. I can but piece together what few morsels fell from the grapevine into a rather disappointing meal, I'm afraid. They say a woman arrived in the King Crab Inn sometime after midnight. She retired to a room on the ground floor where she was soon joined by a man who had been nursing the same cup of wine for hours. I say man and woman because both of them were cloaked and recognized by none. About an hour later, another figure arrived, headed for the same room. Soon after, a terrible commotion erupted and the thundering light of magic was witnessed by the few remaining patrons. It took a while for the landlord to pluck up the courage to enter the mystery room. When finally he did, he found Jake there, dead. How and why he came to be there, no one knows. But I had a good look around the scene of the crime before the Legion barred anyone from entering. The traces of magic I felt were vile. Source, no doubt. I myself have none, even though the rest of the town has already mentally tried and convicted Jake's wife, Esmeralda. Now, it may well be established that she is in fact the guilty party. I'm not claiming that I'm certain she's innocent, but let's just say that if I really thought this murder case would be so very easily resolved, I wouldn't have sent for source hunters. Strangers leading orcs. Humans. But that would be like kittens leading a wolf pack. And yet, I have heard rumors about a sect of sorts. A shadowy set of worshippers that associate even with orcs. Some say they're sorcerers, but people will say that about anyone who behaves a bit strangely nowadays. I don't know quite what to make of this news, but thank you for informing me. It would be wise not to dismiss such a curious event out of hand. But certainly, what would you like to know? Oh, I am but a wizard, a guardian of man and beast, and indeed I am both. My body, like any other, is bound to temporal decay, but my spirit is a speck of light that shone forth from the eternal sun that is the cosmic soul. My task upon this earth is to protect the heart of nature, the very antithesis of which is the intrigue spun by demons and directors of the dead. Hence my involvement in Sicil. You see, my one desire is to witness a world in which every mother looks around her and purrs with calm contentment, for she knows that her chicks or children, her cubs or calves, will grow up without knowing the meaning of menace, the enfeeblement of fear. To my great regret, none of them purr as yet. Oh, but that's not a trick. It's a blessing. Or does it surprise you that I enjoy taking a feline guise? Such magic is a gift, hunter. To tread upon the realm of instinct, even articulate speech, perhaps humanity's greatest asset, cannot give expression to something so inextricably innate. To be out in the night, to stalk on silent paws and hunt with only the moon as your witness, you couldn't possibly imagine the thrill. But of course it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable thumbs, this I freely admit. Let's just say I have found a way to enjoy the best of two worlds. Oh, that'll never happen. Granted, a witch could make the polymorph permanent if she'd enchant me in my cat guise, but I'll just have to be careful around witches, won't I? I'm my own wizard, you know, and I don't intend to become anyone's familiar. And what might those be? In truth, I don't know. They've been clawing their way out of the ground for 2 years now, and for 2 years the stalemate between them and the living has been dragging on at a weary pace indeed. The Legion did a good job keeping them at bay, but I think it's fair to say that without my magic-infused ballistae, they'd have gotten the better of us by now. Someone is responsible for the outbreak. Necromancers are at work, but who are they and where do they hide? Alas, that searching for them is like searching for a single louse in a lion's fur. Oh, a mere trifle for one with the intellect of a feline and the engineering skills of a human. You basically construct a classic ballista, add a 100% legally obtained self-regenerating source of destructive magic to it, and Bobcat's your uncle. Unfortunately, that is absolutely correct. The Orc siege is yet another hairball stuck in this city's already choking throat, and it shows no signs of abating. We've cordoned off the western beach where most Orc activity has been reported. For the 9 lives of me, I can't seem to figure what they're doing here. There's nothing of interest along the waterfront, except for a set of caves with an unfavorable reputation. Maybe they're after some pirate's treasure, the fools.
Okay, so this guy sells the Geomancer and Pyrokinetic skills. Also has an identifying glass. We have just enough to buy that, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. I'll identify this real quick. So we got some chest armor. I think I'll take the small hit and armor to gain all the other benefits of that, what we just identified. We're getting 1 initiative, a little bit of movement, and some health. Let's check out the basement before we leave.
I'll thank you to take a step in another direction. This is the Legion treasure room, and you've no business bothering with it. Your not so sterling reputation happens to precede you.
face!
Look on the
So let's see what these people are talking
Everyone
about.
knows the ugly soldiers are the most...
Hey, who's that then? Come on, stand where my good eye can see you.
Easy, Tull. That's the source hunter you're talking to.
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
Well, that's to be decided. She doesn't seem to be sick, despite Tully's moaning. We can't keep her here forever, but we can't well send her into the wilds again, can we?
Those bolted in Paris a bridge throw. Get to shine.
That's a mighty big if. We can't have one of our team wandering off into the wilds when we need her to be watching our backs.
Can't say I'm surprised. You wouldn't want an untamed thing like that sleeping next to you at night. Now it's for us to decide what to do with her, of course.
If I've got my say, we'll take her into the woods and put her down.
Sir, no, sir.
Ice blue eyes, narrow beneath a heavy brow streaked with sweat and dust. Her hands tense into claws, held at the ready.
Her brow knits together, but something in her pose relaxes. She clears her throat. I am Bear Daughter. I have not come here to find trouble with the Screech woman. She only startled me. And you are a source hunter. I have heard many tales of your order. Your history is long and honorable. This woman here, the one who now plots her revenge, she crept behind me while I was hunting, and I only defended myself. I would not hurt an innocent Screech woman on purpose. But soon their swords were upon me, and they forced me into this cage meant for dogs. Mother would rip the fur from her chest if she could see how they keep me.
Say, Source Hunter, do you reckon the vendor's got any large, rather large...
Okay, so we were given permission to investigate the crime scene, so I'm going to head over to the inn now.
Heavenly herring, delicious.
Let's check out the Fletcher first.
What sort of arrows do you want? Freezing? Silver? Poison? Get to the point.
So those arrows are pretty expensive. 40 gold for 20 arrow shafts. I'll go ahead and pick that up. I think I'll be able to use those later on in crafting. There's an AoE ability for a ranger we can get later on when we have money again.
Let us see if you can choose the finest greens.
Any takers? Come on, you chickens!
Potions to bemuscle you, scrolls to entussle you.
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more home than a slice of this fine
If you remember, we went crossbow on our hunter, so I'm looking at these, seeing if there's any way I can afford them.
Well, hello there. Not in the mood for cheese. The excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine almond land.
Any takers? Come on, you chickens!
Not in the mood for cheese. The excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine almond land.
Heavenly herring! Delicious dogfish! Yours for a scrap of gold each!
Okay, we don't have much value to sell, so we'll have to come back and hope it's still in stock later.
Well, hello there.
Aim straight. Aim true. Arrows by the dozens.
Pay the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
You there! A moment of your indulgence, if you please. You are the source hunter, are you not? The hero the whole of Sightseal is abuzz about. The talk of the town. The juiciest grape on the grapevine. Such a pleasure to meet you. A delight. No, scratch that. It is so much more than a delight. It is an intervention of fate. Yes, that's it. Fate has put me on this very spot so I may tell you all about a most intriguing opportunity indeed. Oh, it's not merely an opportunity. It is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to become better. To become the full extent of the promise that is locked inside of each and every one of us. So first of all, let me ask you this question. Do you like adventure?
Get it while it's fresh! This batch is only hours from the sea!
Pay the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Quite right. Adventure is what we live for.
See here. You and I share the same passion. I never doubted it for a moment. The thrill of walking the unbeaten path. The rush of finding yourself in a goblin ambush, knowing you'll prevail nonetheless. Too bad your line of work comes with such measly recompense. Am I right? The wage of a mere soldier. Now, between you and me, tell me truthfully, don't you sometimes wish you could earn more?
Pay the big cheese on your
And I can't say that I have. I'm content with what I have.
Well, don't quarrel about it on my account. Still, if a matter is divisive, it is divisive mainly because it is alluring. And riches are so very alluring. Even so, my friend, matters of a pecuniary nature aside, what is life without variety, without spice? To be a source hunter must get frightfully dreary sometimes. Am I right? All those orders. Investigate this, retrieve that, and at the end of the day, what do you have to show for it? Wouldn't you prefer to call your own shots? Be your own boss?
You'll always stay menial with that attitude. Just what those trusted masters want.
You disagree with one another. But that proves you are firm-willed. That you have the minds of independence, not dependence. Admit, life's too short to spend it doing someone else's bidding. Am I right? Of course I am. And I could help you attain the dream. Enact the change you deserve. And that is exactly why I am here. Why fate has put me right by the door to the King Crab, so that I could meet you and tell you about the marvel that is the Fabulous Five. The invitation to join is yours. Grab it.
Okay, so let's hear more about this Fabulous Five.
Ah, the Fabulous Five. How I enjoy simply saying the words that describe the most illustrious and celebrated adventurers' guild in Riverlon. Our mission, to better the world. Our mantra, to better ourselves as we do so. To realize our dreams and cleanse our souls. You'd like nothing more than to enlist, wouldn't you? Of course you would. And you can. Of course, if you still have questions, I shall answer them to the best of my abilities. But if not, how about we get started? What a gem of a question. Straight as an arrow, sharp as a switchblade. Most meritorious of you. Now then, to join the Fabulous Five is to join a fellowship, to join a fraternity, a sorority, a community. The title of Knight is bestowed upon you the moment you sign our waiver, and so it all begins. I shall be the one to give you your first contracts, and once the job is done, I shall see to it you get your fair share of the reward. Of course, should you spread the word, should you propagate the gospel of the Fabulous Five and thereby draw new knights into our fellowship, you will get a share of the reward from their contracts too. Isn't that wonderful? By now, the genial glow of the fellowship must have warmed your heart. It has, hasn't it? But did I say fellowship? I mean family. For like a family, we support one another, cheer one another, see each other through thick and thin, partake in glory and defeat. Work hard, fulfill contracts, enlist new knights, and swiftly shall you rise through the ranks. You will better yourself. You will better Riverlon. You will make the stars shine all the brighter, and you'll get fabulously wealthy in the process. What's not to like?
Sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Okay, so let's enlist in what is totally not a pyramid scheme.
Of course, of course, of course. All you need to do is sign this waiver, and just like that, snap! You're part of the family. All I need is your lovely little autograph. What do you say?
It's only hours from the sea.
Let's see. Halibut.
And me! May all the riches in the world be ours!
That's interesting. A moment ago I thought she said she was fine with what she had. Guess you did a good job convincing her.
Marvelous. Magnificent. Oh, but what am I saying? Fabulous is the word. You may not realize it yet, but your fortunes, your very life is about to change for the better. So let us not dilly-dally. To business. Your first assignment is ready and waiting if you're ready and willing. Oh, it's a pretty straightforward task, this one. Now, in this town dwells a wizard. Ahu is his name, and he's a frightful eccentric. Scientific type, you know the kind. Favors reason over faith and all that. Not Fabulous Five material, him. His experimental weapons may keep a couple of skeletons away from the city, but many of his other researches failed, malfunctioned with tragic consequences. One of them was a big lumbering apparatus, a frightful automaton shaped like a giant made of steel. It was supposed to crush the undead by the dozens, piloted as it was by a trained legionnaire. But you can guess what happened. Did it become sentient? Was it cursed? Whatever the cause, the thing relieved itself of its pilot and headed north towards a network of caves. Now ask yourself, what if it comes back? It could smash the city walls and claim 100 lives before being subdued. Luckily, there are those in this world who belong to the Fabulous Five. The braves who eat such monstrosities for breakfast. Go, my friend. Find this wizard's abomination and claim your just reward from Mayor Cecil in the name of our hallowed guild. Easy money.
Okay, now that we've gotten through that, we can go to the inn.
Oh, thank you to leave me be, you old rat.
Ah, hello. I suppose you're here to viciously interrogate me for information I don't have, like our noble Captain Aureus before you. I am the Duke of Ferrell, though I suppose my name is in the mouths of enough ruthless gossipers that you've heard of me by now. It's very tragic news. I won't posture and say that the Chancellor and I were anything near allies, but I truly never wish the man harm. Ah, hello. I suppose you're here to viciously interrogate me for information I don't have. It's very tragic news. I will...
Back, demon! Back, or I'll... Well, what's this? Oh, Medora, you lummox. 1,000 pardons, comrade. This old bear's edgier than a dodecahedron these days. I'll tell you, it sure does me good to set eyes on another of our order. From Academy West, aren't you? Give Captain Wartruce my regards next time you see him. You wouldn't. I trained up in Academy North, after all. We don't cross paths with you Westies all that often, but it's always a pleasure when we do. Medora's the name. Retired, or so the Order keeps trying to tell me, but never out of commission. My hand to your cause and my sword at your side. Heavens hornets! That's quite a story, comrade. And come to think of it, one that might concern you. See, I'm here on, well, let's call it a loan from a town to the north of here. Hunter's Edge by name. There's been an attack there, comrade. Orcs. Not your run-of-the-mill savages either, but ones who've taken dark magic to new heights. What they want in Hunter's Edge, I can't say, but it's my responsibility to send them packing. Preferably with their horns in their suitcases and a knee-knocking fear of ever crossing paths with a sauce hunter again. I came south seeking the Legion's help, only to find it tied here in Sicil. They don't have a spare soldier to send northward, and even in my finest form, I can't clear the place of that many orcs without backup. By the skin of my teeth, comrade. The savages were rounding up villagers when one of them activated a tripwire on our village wizard's property. Fortunately for me, that particular wizard has a penchant for things that go boom in the night. I managed to wrench free of my captor's grip and flee toward the forest. He pursued me for miles, but I'd lost him before I made it into the Sicil hinterlands. Well, comrade, I hadn't thought of it till you tapped my shoulder just now, but perhaps that's where you come in. I need a contingent I can trust if I'm to take back the town. And the way I see it, you could use reinforcements here in town. I've been scouting Sicil for some time now, and I believe I've sussed out sufficient intel to help solve the murder of the Counselor. With our minds and swords in tandem, we'll make short work of the perpetrator. Well, you know the old expression. 2's a tea party, 3's an invasion. I know this place like the back of my hand by now, and the orcs up north will be short work for a trained-up trio of sauce hunters.
Getting ourselves caught up in an entangling alliance will hinder more than help us.
By the demon's tomb, I never thought I'd live to see a sauce hunter dismiss an eager comrade. That's what they teach you about loyalty at Academy West, is it? Well, you're lucky we Northies have a certain expression. Better to do right the second time than never at all. So if you change your mind about joining forces, I'll tell you. Hunter's greetings. So, have you changed your mind about venturing forth, shield to shield against the sauce menace? More than I'd hoped, comrade. I don't know what in tarnation's gotten into the townsfolk here, but there's enough dark magic running roughshod to topple a small mountain. There's Mayor Cecil's doings for one, and the mysteries of our master Thalron for another. And on top of it all, the feline menace is lurking at every hearth and shadow. Now don't get me wrong, I think the mayor's a decent sort, even if he can't hear farther than the tip of his own nose. But from what I've heard whispered around the docks, the old guy's gotten himself mixed up in something not quite on this side of the law. I suspect an illegal sauce artifact or substance is at the root of it, but exactly what or who's given it to him, I can't say. And since I haven't technically been assigned to Cecil, I don't have the authority to interrogate him. Fella seems like a humble doctor, but I bet my sword he's dealing in something darker than splints and tonics. A loose-lipped fishmonger let slip that she'd seen our good doctor scale the city wall on 2 separate occasions, well past midnight each time. What business could he have among the undead? Hardly the habit of an innocent healer, I'd say. You mean you don't already know, comrade? Their kind can see in the dark. It ain't natural. Well, you know the old expression, two's a teeth.
Another source hunt.
That's the spirit. Listen closely now. Do you hear it? That's...
I don't plan to use her in my party. Most of the time, I'm not sure if inviting her to the party though might trigger some quests, so I'm doing it just in case.
Have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Fortune? Ha! He should be so lucky as to be defeated by Alistair the Great.
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets.
Ready to advance, ready to defeat. But what'll you do if you stumble upon a cast of enraged source crabs? Well, I reckon I'll grab a pint at the King Crab Inn.
I'm gonna continue talking to everyone at the inn.
Come now, what have we here? A source hunter, is it? Well, my day just became rather more stimulating. Well, stand still then, if you don't mind. I want to take a good long look at the so-called savior of Cecil. Tall as an elf, strong as an orc, but your face, quite classical, isn't it? Statuesque, some might say. Yes, smooth and sturdy as marble, yet fine as a chisel's edge. And my word, what passion burns from your eyes. Please forgive my being forward, but I dare say, can it be? You're exactly the person I've been searching for. That I have. For nearly a lifetime, it seems. Well, I'm sure you must know what I mean. Like existence itself lacked a significant component? Like if you could only fill a certain void, could connect with the right body, the right spirit. Together you could uncover new and thrilling vistas. I believe I have found that component, that body, that spirit within you, Source Hunter. Come, if ever we are to be united, we must truly entwine our fates. We must link our causes forevermore. Yes, You must join the Fabulous Five right away, as soon as time permits. Together, as a team, we'll explore the boundless realm before us. We'll uncover fate, inch by inch. So you've joined up. You've sworn to share in our adversity and our bounty alike. Oh, you've made my heart soar. I can finally offer you our finest adventuring equipment at fantastic in-house rates. Come now, let's trade. Well, you must be thrilled to find yourself a member of a team so widely renowned for its valor and skill. And you must be even more curious about how you yourself can suit up to face such enemies as a member of the Fabulous Five must face. Well, never fear. I have everything you need. I hear you've been tasked with taking out that crazed robot in the northern cave. I'm sure you'd like to equip yourself with the finest possible accoutrement, wouldn't you? Come, come, I have everything you need. Oh, darling, that was so long ago now. Who can remember who said what after all this time? What matters is the here and now. And in this moment, I promise to give you the best deals on adventuring equipment you'll find in all Sicile. Well, you are a member of the eminent Fabulous Five, after all.
Sorry, I've run out of signed handkerchiefs. An Alistair keyring, maybe. In any case, make it quick. You're not the only fan who wants some of my time. What do you mean, not familiar? You expect me to believe you've never heard of Alistair the Almighty? Why, I'm only the most famous wizard this side of Vadistis. Although, it'd be worth checking the other side too, just in case. And don't forget, I'm the most eminent member of the Fabulous Five to boot. Surely you already know we've been voted the most influential adventurers guild by SideQuest Monthly, 3 years running.
Come now, Alistair.
Ah, pointless chatter with strangers does so thrill me. How did you know? Please continue interrupting my drink if you'd be so kind. How curious of you to show interest in a lonesome stranger at the bar. Let me answer by saying that who I am is hardly any of your business, and anyone with an ounce of tact would have known that already.
Hearty welcome to the King Crab Inn, and a pleasure to have you. You look like you could use a round or three, so what'll it be? Have a seat and stay a while.
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you're real.
Mind if we keep our voices down over that sensitive subject? Death and dark magic ain't exactly great for business, you know. That room where it happened, it was rented to a certain woman. Though I regret to say I can't say exactly who. This inn isn't in the business of asking many questions, if you know what I mean. She came heavily cloaked, but paid the full sum in advance. I was used to such transactions after many similar concerning a certain Esmeralda. Figured this were just more at same. I saw one other figure go into the room that night. Someone tall, built broad like a man, but shrouded the same as she. Again, standard practice for Mrs. Counselor and her visitors. I was startled awake by a horrendous hubbub shortly after midnight. I jumped up and grabbed me grandpappy's machete, bleary-eyed and awash in fright. By the time I burst into that room, it was horribly silent. There was only Jake on the floor, dead, surrounded by what may as well have been a battlefield. Whoever done it has escaped through the window, but I saw nary a soul when I looked out.
You can bet I hightailed it to the Legion barracks faster than a jackrabbit after that. Councillor Jake, that poor man. I knew too much about his affairs, you know. Never figured it my business to say anything, but after all that's happened, I wonder if that weren't a grave mistake. Esmeralda's longest-standing lover has the audacity to remain lodged at this very inn, you know. He's called the Duke of Ferrell, a high title for a low man. If you haven't yet asked him about Esmeralda, I'd recommend it.
Okay, maybe that's going to open some new dialogue over here.
Hello. I suppose you're here to viciously interrogate me for information I don't have, like our noble Captain Aureus before you. Yes, she and I have a history. That's hardly a secret anymore. I quite doubt it was even a secret from Jake while he lived. As easy as it would be to pin suspicions on Esmeralda or I assure you that the affair was never so steamy and sordid as the busybodies around town make it out to be. Jake and Esmeralda had no great affection for each other. He had his interests, she had hers, and there was little passion left between them. Certainly not enough to fuel a murder.
Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
He should be so lucky as to be defeated by Alistair the Great. Greetings, traveller. And may the Immaculate Conduit's myriad blessings comfort and cradle you. Tell me, have you yet heard the revelation? You mean you haven't heard? Oh, what fortune that I may share the goddess's salvation with one who has, as yet, been lost. Steel yourself, friend, for your mortal spirit could be forever transformed from this moment forth. The conduit, our link to the goddess herself, has given us a special gift, and the gift is thus. By following her instructions and becoming initiated into the one way, we can each of us live on for a span greater than the number of stars that twinkle within the goddess's right eye. She came from on high to we mortals and showed us the path to the goddess, where all living souls are naturally inclined. She showed us that injury and malady need not mark the end of life, but that through her methods we could ascend to greater life in service of the goddess. Ah, for this hallowed information, you must seek an immaculate chapel. Go north, friend, through the forest and into the town of Silverglen, where all may be revealed. There, among her followers and friends, dwells the goddess's ecstasy, her one way. What's in a name, dear friend? For we all begin equal in the conduit's eyes, and only through great deeds may enter into her inner ring. Go on the path to the righteous, my friend. Forget not that the conduit has great plans for you.
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets. The likes of which
Greetings, greetings. Oh, you are most welcome in my chamber. Customers rarely find me up here, but I do so abhor the hustle and bustle of the marketplace. That I am. I have spent more of my life on the road travelling alongside great caravans than I have in any given place in Rivellon. All of this earth is my home, for a few days or even but a few hours at a time, that is.
I would actually like to give someone a level into witchcraft at some point. For this skill that gives 40% damage for 3 turns. It's quite useful.
You wouldn't believe some of the things I have seen.
Okay, I think I'll end this episode here on a cliffhanger before we enter the room of Jake's murder. As I mentioned, there's quite a bit of talking in the city, so it might be a while yet before I get out and really get into like combat again. Anyways, I'll see you guys later.